AronRa made a video refuting the claims Dr. Peter Kreeft made in a Prager University video titled God versus Atheism, which is more rational. In his attack, AronRa used logical fallacies, lies, and ridiculous reasoning to make his case. And the odd thing is that he doesn't really address any of the arguments in the Prager video in any discernible way. By watching AronRa's video, what you end up with is nothing more than an error-laden diatribe. I am sure that AronRa is an intelligent person, so the only reasonable conclusion for why he made his video in the way he did is because he knew his subscribers would like it, and furthermore, he thinks his subs are too stupid to know that the entire video is little more than lies and nonsense. This is the only explanation for the video that makes sense.
Given that a god is a magical anthropomorphic immortal, evidently imagined out of nothing by superstitious primitives who didn't understand anything in the natural world around them, it is already irrational to imagine that such a thing actually exists, especially with no reason to believe that and plenty of good reasons not to.
Right out of the gate, AronRa makes a classic atheist blunder, that is, of the genetic fallacy. That is, he thinks that by explaining how I belief arose, he has proven that it is false. This is a common logical fallacy used by atheists. It is important to note that AronRa provides zero evidence for his assertions about the origins of theism, and furthermore, those assertions are probably wrong. But even if he were right, that would not in any way negate the positive arguments for the existence of God offered by Dr. Kreeft.
But belief in God requires faith. According to a consensus of dictionaries, scriptural references, hymns, sermons of theologians past and present, all reveal that faith is an assertion of unreasonable conviction assumed without reason and defended against all reason.
AronRa also confused belief in God as being one of faith alone, which is not an argument proposed by any serious theist and is definitely not an argument presented by Dr. Kreeft in the video. In 1 Peter 3:15 it says, "But in your hearts honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks you for a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect." And again here in Acts 17 it says, "As was his custom, Paul went into the synagogue, and on 3 Sabbath days he reasoned with them from the scriptures, explaining and proving that the Messiah had to suffer and rise from the dead. This Jesus I am proclaiming to you is the Messiah," he said. Some of the Jews were persuaded and joined Paul and Silas, as did a large number of God-fearing Greeks and quite a few prominent women. And his assertion that dictionaries define faith as baseless and lacking reason is just a good old-fashioned lie. That definition cannot be found in any reputable dictionary. So Christians believe and have believed from the start that faith and reason work together to support belief in God.
Cosmologists, geologists, and biologists are the scientists most likely to detect these fingerprints if they were actually there, yet these three fields have the fewest believers and are each overwhelmingly atheist. Similar trends exist among anthropologists, archaeologists, historians, as well as geneticists and so on, who are increasingly unable to pretend there was ever a God there.
Here, AronRa makes his third mistake in logical fallacy, an appeal to authority. He claims that cosmologists, geologists, and biologists are overwhelmingly atheist. It is important to note that he provides no evidence for this assertion. However, a Pew Research poll says that only 41% of all scientists do not believe in God or some kind of higher power, and I am sure that atheists would make up a subset of this figure because this would also include agnostics. Hardly a majority, or as AronRa puts it, an overwhelming majority. So here we find AronRa flat out lying in a vain attempt to make his point. But even if his claims about this were right, he would still just be making the logical fallacy of either appeal to authority or appeal to majority.
They can use their God to rationalize or justify anything and escape accountability too. You don't have to actually help anyone. You can just wish upon a star that they'll get the help that they need. You don't have to be accountable to anyone or be responsible for your actions. You can live like there's no tomorrow because God will come and destroy the world soon anyway, and you can just assume that he's already forgiven you for whatever you should have atoned for, and you can justify all other atrocities simply by thinking that God hates all the same things that you do.
Now we see AronRa projecting the moral difficulties associated with atheism onto theists. Christians, for example, have a fully formed and philosophically grounded moral system that does not allow for any of the problems described by AronRa in this particular rant.
Apart from a handful of deists and quasi-pantheists like Spinoza and Einstein, who was atheist, what most people mean by God is an intelligent director controlling all things, rewarding good deeds and punishing bad as if this was an episode of The Twilight Zone and God was Rod Serling. Otherwise, what everyone means by God is a conscious thinking mind in the image of man behind everything in the universe, and there is just no reason to believe anything like that.
First, we see AronRa claiming that Einstein was an atheist. This is another blatant lie. Einstein is quoted as saying in 1930, "I am not an atheist and I don't think I can call myself a pantheist." Einstein is also quoted as saying, "There is harmony in the cosmos, which I, with my limited human mind, am able to recognize. Yet there are people who say there is no God. But what really makes me angry is that they quote me to support such views." So it is clear that Einstein was not an atheist, and the fact that people used him to support their atheist views made him angry. Second, AronRa clearly doesn't understand the cosmological argument, which he is attacking here. He thinks the conclusion of the cosmological argument results in the God of Christianity. The cosmological argument is merely part of a cumulative case for the God of Christianity.
Miracles share the same definition as magic, evoking supernatural forces or entities to control or forecast natural events. But miracles are also defined by being inexplicable by science because they defy the laws of physics, meaning that they are physically impossible, and thus God is impossible by definition.
Contrary to AronRa, miracles are not defined as defying the laws of physics in any standard dictionary. And even if this was the standard definition of a miracle, it would not logically follow that since miracles are physically impossible, therefore God is impossible by definition, as AronRa claims. At least he's trying to make an argument here, but his case is completely irrational and makes no sense whatsoever.
A firm conviction without any evidence is necessary for your belief system. That's why it's praised throughout your doctrine and promoted as the highest priority and an obligate requirement of salvation.
A firm conviction without any evidence is what AronRa uses to support his belief in naturalism, because there are absolutely no arguments or evidence that demonstrate that naturalism is true. AronRa must accept naturalism as true without arguments or evidence to support such a belief. I have a video that explains this fallacy in greater detail. I'll put a link to that video in the description.
That's why you assert as fact things that are not evidently true. That's why you just told both of the lies you just did, lies of projection and equivocation.
AronRa ends his video by calling Peter Kreeft a liar, when it is clear that it is AronRa who is clearly guilty of presenting falsehoods as facts to make his case.